Working on a traction engine which is similar to a Minnie Part 4, the wheels are painted a brassy type of colour. I wondered if I could improve the appearance. I bought some acrylic brass paint and painted one of the front wheels with it. This only made things worse. The time has come to use my ultrasonic cleaner. This image shows the front wheel before I painted it. As you can see, it doesn't look very good. So here is the colour I'm going to use. It's called brass. The problem is, it's nothing like the colour of brass. If I intended to hang these wheels on a Christmas tree, then this paint would be fine, but really, it's nowhere near. I poured some out onto a piece of wood and started to paint, and immediately I thought, this looks nothing like brass. It looks like cheap gold paint with a dash of green in it. All is not lost though. The wife of a good friend of mine makes theatrical costumes, so we'll give the paint to her. Here's a job about halfway through, and as you can see, it's a different colour to the original brass paint that was used, and that didn't look good either. I think I will run the traction engine and have a think what the solution to this is going to be. It really is running quite well now, and it's reassuring after the last episode when I fitted the phosphor bronze bushes that it is impossible now for the crank web to collide with the bulkhead. What I don't understand is that this traction engine really is well made, but unfortunately the original builder really didn't have much idea which metal to use other than brass and steel. Not to mention the use of soft solder throughout this model is a real problem. Anyway, for now, back to the paint job. Here's the paint that I bought, and it clearly says brass on it, but when you apply it, it doesn't look anything like brass. Here is the wheel after I've finished painting it, and as you can clearly see, it looks diabolical. Not only is the colour atrocious, the marking outlines on the spokes are very deep and show up. I looked at this paint job and I turned the wheel round and it didn't get any better. This is really horrific. To be honest, brush painting any metallic paint can be a bit of a problem, but come on, this looks nothing like any brass I've ever seen. I persevered though, gave it another coat and let it dry. And to prove a point as to how much this does not look like brass, it's against a brass backdrop. Most of this engine is made from brass. This wheel looks like a very bad pantomime prop. The wheels didn't look good initially, that's why I wanted to paint them. But I think it's time for a radical rethink of what colour to paint the wheels. Before I go any further, I have to remove this paint. It is really offensive. Not just the wheel that I painted, that looks more offensive than the others, but they're all really horrible. So I have a plan. And while I'm devoting a bit more time to thinking about the plan, I turned on the compressed air to make the motion work. I really like the way this runs. It's just such a pity that it's made using entirely the wrong materials. And the main culprit, unfortunately, is the use of soft solder. Even the boiler is soft soldered, so it is no good whatsoever for any pressures that are likely to be needed to make this thing work. There is a relationship between steam pressure and steam temperature. The safety valve for this boiler is set at 50 pounds per square inch, and the temperature of the steam at 50 pounds per square inch is rapidly approaching the melting point of the soft solder. I'm going to have a look what is underneath the gold paint. I'm currently in the workshop built onto my kitchen, and the only solvent I have in this workshop is acetone. I normally use this stuff if I want to make any ABS plastic adhesive. By brushing it onto the wheel, it soon removed the paint, revealing some white paint underneath, and this really is not going to be removed by acetone. I don't know what it is, possibly some kind of etching primer. The thing that spoils this though is the depth of the scribed lines. The lines are far too deep and show through the paint. I should be able to fix this by using first of all some etching primer and then some high build primer. But first of all I need to remove the existing paint, and my weapon of choice for this is my digital ultrasonic cleaner. This is a very useful gadget. I bought quite a big one with a 15-litre tank, and this means that larger components can go in. Here's the basket that fits inside the cleaner, which holds the parts. I'm about to put some water in this tank, which is very hot. It's just from the hot tap of my kitchen sink, but I'd turned up the water temperature on the boiler a while ago. The temperature of this water, though, cooled very quickly once it was put in the cold tank of the ultrasonic cleaner. Here I'm setting the temperature that I want it to be lifted to by the internal heater. 66 degrees seems to be quite a good number. I'm filling a large pan with water from my kitchen sink tap. I place the wheels in the basket and the basket in the ultrasonic cleaner and then pour the water on. However, by doing this, first of all, there's too much water and the temperature has dropped, so I let some of the water out so I could replace it with some hotter water. This water is from the kettle and it's even hotter than the water coming from the tap. I don't want to fill the tank all the way to the top, just enough to cover the painted parts of the wheels. I now need to add the solvent to the water, and this stuff is carburetor cleaner. 1 litre of this stuff needs to be mixed with 20 litres of water, but I'm increasing the concentration considerably. This will speed up the paint removal properties. Time now to turn on the ultrasonic cleaner, and yes, I know you can hear it, but inside the tank it's ultrasonic, externally it makes this horrible noise. I always use Ultrasonic EP24R solvent, and 1 hour later, in this heavy-duty concentration, all of the hideous gold paint has gone, leaving behind most of the white paint on the spokes. Progress has been made, and that's the end of this episode. Stay safe, stay healthy, thanks for watching, and I hope you found it useful. Please take the time to visit my Mainsteam Models website and click on the section of the website that says Video Playlists. And by doing that, you can find other videos that you may like to watch. And by using the playlists, you can actually watch the videos back to back.